Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter for boxing-related tweets. It's the big fight week. Tyson Fury travels to the United States in an attempt to dethrone Deontay Wilder. I'm going to bring 3 videos this week. Obviously, I'm excited about the fight. One of them is this one, of course, which is going to discuss the mentality of Tyson Fury and how his religious beliefs shape his mentality and how they could affect him in this fight. Now, this is going to be quite a deep discussion. It's not going to be a simple, oh, he's a man of faith, and people of faith have certain beliefs in themselves and think they put their hands in they put their lives in God's hands. That's something that anybody could talk about. What we're going to discuss here is a bit of a deeper issue with regards to certain things Tyson Fury has said and done. And it's going to get a little bit deep, a little bit mystical. Now, you don't have to believe in any of this. You might be an atheist who believes all religion is hocus pocus. You might believe in particular religions, monotheistic religion or indeed a polytheistic religion, whatever it is, but you believe in a vanilla version where, you don't believe in sort of the deeper, more mystical, magical elements of religion, or you might believe in that too. It's all irrelevant. What you believe, what I believe, it doesn't matter. What matters is what Tyson Fury believes and how it affects his mentality. That's what we're discussing here. That's what this is all about, this particular video. Then tomorrow I'm going to bring a video talking about the difference between the science of boxing and the art of boxing and how that relates to Deontay Wilder, because there is a difference between those two things, and we're going to talk about how that relates to Deontay Wilder and the strengths and the limitations of that. And then finally, on the day of the weigh-in, I'm going to bring one final video to talk about a final technical breakdown and a prediction as to how I believe the fight's going to go. That will probably be after the weigh-in. Now, Tyson Fury. I'm sure you're all aware by now, Tyson Fury is a man of faith. He's a pretty staunch Christian in terms of his beliefs. But if we rewind back to that face-off, around the round table, that was a really exciting thing. They were very amicable until Deontay Wilder said that his ancestral spirits, he gets his power from ancestral spirits that possess him, that go inside him, is what he said. And at that point, Tyson Fury instantly changed his demeanor. Instantly. And he said something along the lines of, see, I thought you were like me, but for saying something like that on TV, you're getting it. And he started to talk about God, how he doesn't need any mystical powers and things like that. He only needs God. Now, what is he talking about? Oh, furthermore, a key thing that nobody at all has mentioned, or at least no one that I've come across in other boxing videos, is the bit where he says, I've beaten you in Dusseldorf before, and I'm going to beat you again now. You can't beat me. Now, what does he mean by that? He's talking to Deontay Wilder. He fought Klitschko in Dusseldorf. Well, here's the thing. Hatman recently did a video and he spoke about a movie in a completely different context. And I was thinking, because I've been planning this video for a while, I was thinking I'm going to speak about that movie. But it was a completely different context. It's a movie called Fallen. Now, Fallen is a film that I've always loved. It's a film of Denzel Washington. And if you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. It's a really good movie, great cast. Denzel Washington's obviously terrific. John Goodman's brilliant. Even the peripheral actors like Elias Koteas, he's one of those guys who you probably don't know his name, but when you see his face, you know him. He's superb, and he's so good when he's in a scene with Denzel Washington, he actually steals the show, and that's saying something because Denzel Washington can act. So it's a really good cast, really good movie. It's definitely worth watching. This particular movie, Fallen, is about, I won't give anything away, not too much away anyway, but it's about a demonic entity, and it possesses different people and forces them to commit these terrible, terrible crimes. And the way it possesses people, the way it goes from person to person, is through the human touch. So if Guy X is possessed, he has to touch Guy Y, and Guy Y will suddenly be possessed. And the way you know that someone's possessed is when they first become possessed, they start singing that song, Time is on my side. You know the song. You probably know the song. Anyway, so when he's singing that, you know that he's possessed, this particular dude. That theory of... and basically the way the film is, like I said, I'm not going to give anything away, but, if Guy X commits a murder and he's been possessed and then he's no longer possessed and you're putting him on the electric chair, then you guys, the one who's now committing the murder. So you never stop this murderer, so to speak. Okay, so it's really interesting stuff. So when he's speaking to Deontay Wilder, he's not actually speaking to Deontay Wilder. When he says, "I beat you in Dusseldorf," Tyson Fury is referring to a demon inside Wilder. Like I said, you don't need to believe this stuff. I don't. None of us do. It's irrelevant. We're talking about Tyson Fury's mentality. According to Fury, what he's saying there is that I've beaten you in Dusseldorf when you were in Klitschko, and now I'm beating you in the United States when we fight again. You cannot beat me because I have God on my side. Now, when he was going to fight Klitschko, I'm not sure how many people remember this, he accused Vlad of engaging in black magic. Vladimir Klitschko did some sort of magic trick, and rather than a sleight of hand, he uploaded a video somewhere. Rather than like a sleight of hand, which is what most magicians do, Tyson Fury interpreted it as being more than that, as being some sort of black magic. Okay, so where do you get this magical power from? According to Christians, according to all the monotheistic religions, it's from the devil or from a demon. So Tyson Fury is not talking to Wilder. He's talking to a demon that he believes, much like the movie Fallen, he faced in Germany and he's going to face again. And in Tyson Fury's mind, this being cannot beat him. See, I told you we're going to get deep here. But if you analyze what he's saying, that is what Tyson Fury's saying. If you analyze all the evidence. Now, he's a very, very deeply religious man, Fury. So deeply religious, because this plays a role. This all plays a role in the mentality. So deeply religious that he was persecuted for his, if I say persecuted, I'm passing judgment on how he was treated. Let's take a step back from that and let's discuss what actually happened. He gave an interview with Kugan Cassius on IFL TV, and he was talking about his certain beliefs. And he said that according to him, when the end times would come about, the end of the world, Armageddon, is when homosexual marriage, pedophilia, and abortion would become legal. Now, the way I interpreted that at the time and afterwards is not that he's saying that homosexuality is the same as pedophilia. I certainly didn't interpret it like that. I interpreted it as someone who would say something like, listen, when vandalism and random acts of violence and rape become common in a society and they're going off all over the place, it means that the state powers, authority, have lost authority. They've lost their power, so that nation has fallen, that state has fallen. That's how I interpreted it. Now, that's not saying that vandalism is the same as rape, but what it's saying is that they're all a rejection of the state's laws. You're destroying the country, you're raping people, you're attacking people. As far as I understood it, Tyson Fury was essentially saying that these are all a rejection of God's laws. In the same way that vandalism, rape, and beating people up for no reason are a rejection of society's laws. Okay, now that's how I thought he meant it. I didn't, and he's certainly come out since and he said, look, I don't hate homosexuals. He said that since. He's not ever called for the persecution of gays or anything like that. He's never said they're disgusting people or anything like that. He was just talking about religious beliefs as to when, a judgment would come from God, essentially. Now, why is this relevant? Because after he said this, he was asked about being homophobic to the point where it became a bit of a witch hunt. Now, the reason I say he persecuted and a witch hunt is because all the monotheistic religions believe that homosexuality is a sin. It doesn't mean that you hate homosexuals or that you think they're terrible people. Sex outside of wedlock is also a sin, according to the major faiths. It doesn't mean that, you hate someone who's got a girlfriend and lives with her, but they're not married yet. That might be your best friend. It might be your brother. It might be, so just because you believe it's a sin according to God's laws, it doesn't mean you're going to persecute that person in the same way that it doesn't mean you'd persecute a homosexual just because you see that as a sin against God or against his laws. Okay. So that's how I interpreted what Fury was saying, but that's not how the press took it. The press were accusing him of being homophobic. You had Olympic athletes like Greg Rutherford and I can't remember the name of the woman. There's a woman, a female presenter whose dad was a golfer. She's really famous. It will come to me in a second. But anyway, she threatened to boycott the the Spotty Awards, the Sports Personality of the Year Awards. For our American viewers, this is a particular award that occurs annually, whereby you give an award to somebody who's been the most inspirational, influential sporting figure of the year. And they were he was a nominee, Tyson Fury. So was Rutherford, I believe. And they were both threatening to boycott the award ceremony. So then the press decided to find other things to try and attack. So they found a quote where he said that Jessica Ennis looked fit in a dress. Again, for our non-British viewers, fit is a colloquial term for hot, for sexy. Jessica Ennis, the heptathlete, he said something along the lines of, he was asked, what do you think of her nomination? He said, look, she's fit in a dress and she's great at what she does. She's a brilliant athlete. So, of course she's going to be up there. She's certainly influential and inspirational. And people were saying, oh, how sexist, how dare this young man of 23 or 24 or whatever he was comment about a woman looking nice in a dress. So Jessica Ennis was asked about this, and all credit to Jessica Ennis, she didn't throw him under the bus. She didn't grasp that victimhood and try and get on talk shows to promote her name and her brand. And she didn't do that. She said, look, to be honest with you, I just hope I look really nice on the night, and I'm looking forward to a great night. Now, if she had tried to act the victim, she would have been a hypocrite, because she's done some modeling. Now, what is a model? A model is somebody who uses their appearance as an asset to try and sell it to the world, to say, look, I look good in this dress, buy this dress, because you could look like me. That's what they're essentially trying to do. So if you're using your appearance as an asset and then you're asking someone to judge your appearance, and then you complain when someone judges your appearance, you're a hypocrite. But all due respect and credit to Jessica Ennis, she didn't do that. But the press tried to make that an issue. So you'd start to hear a lot of fans too, a lot of the general public start to call him homophobic, sexist, things like that. Now, how is this all relevant? It's relevant because when Tyson Fury, amid this furore, he could have come out and apologized and said, look, I don't believe there's anything wrong whatsoever with being gay. I apologize if I've offended any women. I apologize if I offended any gay men. I don't believe in these things at all. I don't believe it's a sin to be gay, and blah, 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 and apologize. And he could have done all that. Instead, what he did was just quote, whenever he was asked, was quote from the Bible. Jesus loves you. The only way to heaven is through Jesus. God loves you. God bless you. Things like that. What he's essentially saying when he's asked to say that, homosexuality is not a sin, what he's essentially saying is, look, I'm not going to turn my back on this book that I believe in, this Bible that I believe in, just so that you can give me a round of applause and not persecute me in the press. I'm standing by my values. Like I said, whether you agree, whether I agree, whether Tom, Dick and Harry agrees, is completely irrelevant to this debate. We're not talking about whether Fury was right to say what he said. We're talking about his mentality. He had an easy way out, a way of saying sorry, putting it all behind him, potentially winning Sports Personality of the Year, making an awful lot of money through merchandise and branding and all sorts, and he didn't. He kept by his beliefs in God and the rules within the Bible. Now, by doing that, what it tells you is that even in the face of perceived persecution, this man stands by his beliefs and accepts persecution rather than what he would perceive to be rejecting God. Which tells you that when he's talking about this demonic entity that he's going to face, there's a real staunch belief there that he's going to overcome this. There's this thing that tells him, if I get hurt, if I get dropped, God's going to lift me up. I am going to do this. I'm going to win this fight. This is the mentality of the man that you're facing if you're Deontay Wilder. Now, mentality doesn't necessarily win you a fight. A right hand could separate a guy from his senses. If you've been separated from your senses, you're not sitting there logically thinking, okay, I must get up because of my religious beliefs and so on and so forth. So there's no guarantee that you're going to win. But there's a calmness and there's a belief about Tyson Fury that he cannot lose this fight. So let me know what you think, how that relates to the fight. Is it going to help or hinder Fury? Is it going to affect Deontay Wilder even in the slightest? Is it something that's going to make Wilder think twice? Wow, man, I've been destroying guys and this guy isn't afraid of me at all. Let me know what you think, guys, how you interpret it. Like I said, it's not a debate on whether Tyson Fury's onto something or whether he's completely and utterly deluded. Different topic, different question. We're not talking about religion. It's the mentality that we're discussing. His mentality is beyond doubt. What he believes is beyond doubt. How will that affect the fight? Thank you for watching. Chat to you soon. Bring you a video tomorrow.